Sports here and truly me, the reason boss, also known as T Diddlywinks, or the reason boss, poet boss. A mixture of all things, but one for sure when it comes to football and matter sports, the reason boss keeps it real, shooting from the hip and shooting from the lip. This one, dear viewers and subscribers, whether watching live or on the rewatch, is one I strongly suggest you like, share, or subscribe to. You see, the reason boss is going on a solo mission in this instance, and we're talking about Jamaica respect for the beautiful game that is football. Some reflections on the state of Jamaican football and matters pertaining to Jamaican football. I've been on some social media shows in the Jamaica social media environment, and I want to pay tribute and salutes to the likes of Ryan LFC, JD, We Max It, I Max It, family, big up yourself, Coach's Desk, Manning's Man, Formula Sports. The list is not quite endless, but one thing I have found a little unfortunate and endless. I hope it comes to a close, or certainly the tap closes a little, is when it comes to respect for the game, respect for the players. I am speaking initially regarding the likes of Mr. Omar Hutchinson. Amari Hutchinson, apparently he is in two minds as to whether to represent Jamaica. How does one deal with respecting a player who may or may not be a future representative of the Reggae Boys? For me, this word comes up: respect. Respect. If one has a question, a doubt, an issue, a concern, how about this? Rather than mere speculation. Don't get me wrong, opinions you're entitled to. Opinions are no great shakes. In fact, I welcome opinions and critical faculties when it comes to thinking. But when it comes to disrespecting, preparing to poo-poo and put down a player before anything has been established as concrete fact, I suggest a little respect. RESPECT, Aretha Franklin style. Show a little respect. Take it down low. If you are uncertain, if you have a desire for a player to represent your country, put the lines out by way of communication and let us wait for the answer from the proverbial horse's mouth. It's not a crime. Not at all. Relax. Remember, there's the old saying, be careful how you treat people on the way up, because you might meet the same people on the way down. There's nothing wrong with respecting baseline value, clear communication, respect, empathy, manners and respect. My mom and dad taught me. And that's what the reason boss is bringing to this Jamaican and football sporting space. It's not too much to ask. Excuse me, a little apple juice in my Friday mug. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. I'm just going to bullet point some points that have been on my mind regarding the Jamaican landscape. Bearing in mind, of course, we have the forthcoming Gold Cup. We're going to get to that, no doubt. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you very much for watching live or in the watch along. The Reason Boss telling it as he sees it from London, England, on a bank holiday Monday. Greetings to one another. Humility. Yes, I said it. I'll say it again. Humility. Nothing wrong with humility. I think Jamaica fans certainly could do with a dose of humility and humbleness. The Jamaican Premier League is ranked around the 160 plus mark in world football. Yes, I said 160 plus. Given that as a standard of sorts, I think we should appreciate and call a spade a spade. The chances of seeing outstanding talent from the Jamaican Premier League will be few and far between. I've seen the likes of Richard King ply his trade in the Jamaican Premier League at Cavaliers, a fine prospect, one that coach Jaime Holmgrimson could do well by choosing and selecting to bring him on. However, he's looking at fields afar by way of improving his game. And so he should, excuse me, and so he should. Why not? Because the Jamaican Premier League, I've been watching the Mount Pleasance and the Portmore. Personally, I do have a little time for Portmore and Arnott Gardens. I've seen some decent football played in parts, but it's strictly few and far between. For the most part, it's, shall we say, leaving certain things to be desired by way of defense, midfield, and attack. John Wall, I saw John Wall, the under-20s coach, speak for the first time that I've heard him on Manning's Man, I Am Sure Sports. An intelligent, well-spoken, clear coach in his thinking. He is not backward in coming forward and keeping things real as real can be. He was asked a question about schoolboys football and Jamaica. What's the relevance? How does it impact on Jamaican football? Well, his answer was to the point. Yes, schoolboy football has a place, but the season needs to be longer. Schoolboys football, needs to be in conjunction with the club game. I can only agree and concur. Schoolboys football around the world is not the in thing. Certainly, by way of matriculating to national representation at senior men's level, it's not the done thing around the world. And where Jamaican football is concerned, it's chalk and cheese. It's day and night. And remember, I said day and night. Schoolboys football, day compared to the night of the JPL. Or is it vice versa? Imagine a gap between schoolboys football and the Jamaican Premier League. That's speaking volumes. I saw an interview on Sports Max where a young prospect, Nashado Gibbs, was speaking, having had an experience traveling with the Kingston Academy to Holland, put in a fine performance, but he was clear in stating that his experience at schoolboy football level compared to his experience on this tour was chalk and cheese. It's a big gap. The levels of professionalism leaves a lot to be desired, and Jamaica have a ways to go. However, we are dealt the cards that we are dealt. Jamaica, as John Wall said, is relatively small compared to many nations around the world, and the players at the disposal, the likes of a Bayern Munich, for example. They have, yes, it's a club team, but who do they have at their disposal possibly to play for them? Look at the likes of Real Madrid. They have many players aspiring to represent them. They've got a talent pool in Madrid itself, Bayern in Bayern. Just imagine that, plus the world of footballing talent looking for an opportunity to get on board and be picked. Well, it's interesting because Jamaica, when we're talking about respect and understanding knowledge of the game, Jamaica talks about England being no good. England no good. It's interesting that the likes of Jude Bellingham, England's Jude Bellingham, is being courted by the likes of Real Madrid. Jude Bellingham was on board, on board with Borussia Dortmund and performing outstandingly well. That's where he is now. Jude Bellingham, representing England no good. Alphonso Davies of Canada, a first team selection at Bayern Munich. the CONCACAF. A Canadian. Any Jamaicans representing? Not that spring to mind. Though there is a gentleman, Omar Richards. You see, the Jamaican diaspora is so wide, and Jamaica have many challenges and opportunities. Jamaica have great opportunities to thrive. The forthcoming Gold Cup is one example. We hope that Jamaica, under coach Jaime Halgrimson, can get things together and make a real fist of things. Preparation is key. Coach's desk salutes to Coach Minzy. Made the point, and he's made it on more than one occasion, that preparation for success is vital. You can be prepared to succeed or prepared to fail. Preparation for a renegade boys in the lead up to the Gold Cup could be a little better. But the good thing is that Coach Jaime has been in England looking at Jamaican talent and availability. I hope his communication skills, his marketing skills are on point, because selecting players is one thing, getting them to form a harmonious, cohesive, well-gelled group is another. We will see. They're drawn in Group A, that is Jamaica, alongside the likes of Nicaragua. Hosts America, did you hear me? Hosts. There's a clue. Only two go through. And of course, a preliminary team will be going through from preliminary group 9. The likes of Curacao could be looking to line up. Excuse me. With Jamaica, Nicaragua, and America, only two to go through. Jamaica are in one of the hardest groups, not the hardest group in the Reason Boss's opinion, but it's a group that will require concentration. America are playing at home. It will be Soldiers Field, I believe, in Chicago. Opening game. Yes, the opening game in Group A. Jamaica versus America. I expect America to be one of the two that make it through. You see, usually the cream rises to the top. Home advantage usually counts for quite a lot, especially if it's a team of note. America have a traditionally wonderful, strong record in the Gold Cup. So too does Mexico. I expect Mexico, the usual suspects, to be going through. Canada, who will be Jamaica's likely opponents, should Jamaica come through. Top two go through. Let's speculate if Jamaica come runners up to America. Some would think, let's go for the top position. Why not? We'll have to see if they're good enough, and that's the key. You've got to perform on the pitch. I've got concerns where the Reggae Boys are concerned in the midfield area. Attacking, my goodness me, and the right side of defence. Look at that. How many aspects to the game of football are there? You've got goalkeeper, Andre Blake. Good stuff. Defence, that's pretty critical. I think central defenders, we've got some central defenders that can stand up. Ethan Pinnock, quality. Damian Lowe, I've got plenty of time for Damian. I hope that his maturity with the Philadelphia Union will stand him in good stead. Pace, power, and I hope he can get ahead of the game and preempt movements by the attackers rather than trying to make up for poor decision making with his speed. Sometimes that can prove costly. The right back position is a well-discussed position, and Javane Brown has been the occupant of recent games, but has struggled a bit. Lambakisa of Wolves, he is ready to take on the mantle, though is he the quintessential right back that Jamaica needs? Possibly not. He is not a first teamer in the English Premier League with Wolves. So we know that there is room for improvement and room for experience. What does Jamaica have at its disposal? We need to just deal with the cards that we are dealt. And talking of that, let's go into the midfield area. What do we have? This, for the Reason Boss, is the critical area. A critical area, and the critical area for Reason Boss coming out of London, England. You see the midfield area there? It's the engine room. Brazil, Casimiro, Lucas Paqueta, Fergie, Bruno Gomares. These were getting the job done until they came a cropper at the hands of Croatia in the 2022 World Cup in Qatar. The likes of Modric and Kovacevic did for Brazil. Experience told. What did Jamaica have in the midfield area? Ravel, Morrison, DC United. and yet unattached. Game time. Has he got the legs he used to? What's his best position? CDM, defensive midfielder, or at the attacking fulcrum of the Jamaican midfield? I personally would put him in the attacking third, but does he have the legs? This is the question. He has an eye for the pass, but he's no spring chicken. Into his 30s, what does he have to offer? Passion, class, ability, yes, but opponents who are not digging up and looking for what they can find, that's what you're going to be facing. Sergio Dest, D-E-S-T, Weston McKinney. These are the kind of midfielders that Jamaica will be likely facing. We acquitted ourselves pretty well, I must say, in Mexico. I know Formula Sports, big up yourself, Formula, has not been jumping over hoops and jumping through. Hey, big up yourself, Tennessee. Big up yourself. Thank you very much for being there, Tennessee. One love, and I know that you shoot from the lip and shoot from the hip. You say what's on your mind in a respectful way, and I appreciate that. I hope you subscribe to what the Reason Boss is referring to regarding Jamaica and the forthcoming Gold Cup and Respect, which was the banner headline for this particular stream. Teddy Lee, viewers and subscribers, let me reiterate again, if it's one thing you take from this particular stream, it is, can we as fans, I'm an armchair fan, a ringside fan. When I can get to the game, I get to the game. I remember going to watch with my brother, big up yourself, Naya Bingi, and Barney, one love, trotting from Old Harbour, making our way, taxi, bus, and we reached the stadium, the office, yeah man, to watch Jamaica in action. I believe the game finished 0-0, but the atmosphere at the office, it was one that I will not easily forget. These were the halcyon days. These were the halcyon days. I think that was around, the first time I did it was around the 1994 period. Man, full respect. But today, fast forward to today, Jamaica, in my opinion, have just as much talent, maybe more talent, especially from the diaspora. But bringing them together is going to be so important. And the way I hear some people talking about players, whether they're going to take the invitation, whether they're going to step foot and say, yes, I am ready to play my part. If they're ready, good and well. But sometimes the attitude and the approach, it seems to be, yeah, man, come on board. And then the moment anything looks like going wrong, move. We don't need them man there. And they need them man there. Oh, yeah, go on with them. Not good. Them never really care. No. Only to find, oh, there was explanation. Ethan Pinnock is one that comes to mind, and Mikel Antonio another. Welcomed on board 1 minute. And then the next one, communication comes across that, oh, there's been some hitch. There's been some communication breakdown. There's been a situation that has arisen that has resulted with a player not being able to represent and fulfill and meet a fixture. Next minute, it's a bag of criticism coming down. And I don't think that's good in terms of the climate, the culture, the feel-good factor for a player who is thinking, wait a minute, isn't that the nation that I was and I'm willing to represent? And the moment I'm asking for a blight, I'm asking for a beg your pardon, I'm going to rewind and come again. At that moment, you're getting the bag of attacks. No, let me take a sip. And let me take a trip down memory lane. I got on board the proverbial Juta bus. Thank you very much for joining. If you're there, I've seen you hit the like button. One love and big up yourself. Much respect. I know that there's a passion for football in the Jamaica diaspora, and that's a beautiful thing. I play the Premier League, Fantasy Premier League over in England, and it's very interesting, very pointed. When I have to select my team, it's only the second time I've played in earnest. I did play Fantasy Premier League where you can select from anyone in the Premier League, and week to week you're making substitution, you're bringing in players, you're dropping players, you're bringing in players, you're making transfers. Very interesting. It gives you a real awakening and knowledge, further in-depth knowledge of football. And I must say, apart from Ivan Tony, I've not brought in anyone into my Rich Paul Salazar Fantasy League team this season. Of course, we've got the likes of Ethan Pinnock, who I could have brought in. Quality player. I think Jamaica have got some real gems. Do we have enough gems to lift the Gold Cup? Well, I joined the Juta bus in the 2021 Gold Cup when I was agog. Thank you for liking and subscribing, by the way. Bless up yourself. And please, in the rewatch, if you like, or even dislike, if you have a view, please feel free to speak. Oh, yes. Yeah. Yes, sir. Big up yourself, DNA. I see you're in the building. Big up yourself, sir. You know, I'm getting over hay fever. But will I ever get over the fact that some Jamaican fans are a little bit too negative? DNA, you're not one of the negative naysayers. And I'd like to think that, along with the likes of Ted Lee and many in the social media, our first thoughts and feelings is towards the success of the Jamaican national team to go and do battle with the likes of Canada, Mexico, Costa Rica, El Salvador, Nicaragua, Guatemala, Curacao, Trinidad and Tobago, the so-called Warriors, who we took on back-to-back games recently at Catherine Hall and the National Stadium. Interesting, a 1-0 defeat and a 0-0 result brings a little humility. Yes, it was a developmental team, but still a little humility goes a long way in the Jamaican footballing circles. Playing the Fantasy Football League, I realized I was not always 100% confident I could draw on a Mikel Antonio to get the job done. Interestingly, this time around, I was willing to pick Mikel Antonio. I think that he's coming to the boil in this season towards the end of the Premier League season. A quality player, one that Jamaica could do well in picking and supporting wholeheartedly. A fine striker, combative, not uber clinical, but with his pace and power, he brings that X factor to the equation. And certainly in the CONCACAF, he could be a difference maker. But that midfield area, Ravel Morrison and who? Jonathan Russell, Lambert, DJ, Bobby Reed. Are they going to be turning the CONCACAF world upside down? I remember joining the Juta bus and wondering when I saw the list of players, who are these players? Are they really? Why are certain Jamaican social media hosts and fans talking about lifting the CONCACAF Gold Cup trophy? With who? Canada, Mexico, America. They've got B, C teams out. Really? But what gives you the right to make you think that Jamaica can win this Gold Cup? Really? I wasn't sure. And lo and behold, I saw them lose 1-0 to America, the alleged B/C team. Jamaica have striking issues, midfield issues, and defensive issues. That doesn't make a winning CONCACAF team. What they do have is a coach in Coach Jaime Halgrimsson. FIFA license approved. A man who seemingly thinks for himself, has a bag of common sense, a good communicator, a people person, and hopefully one who can make the hard choices. Gelling is vital. I get the feeling once again with the names being bandied around left, right, and center. I've seen that Simon Preston, salutes to you, Simon, of Reggae Boys commentary, has got a position in the JFF. Scout, analyst, I salute. Simon knows that Jamaica has many players, many players eligible. The question is going to be, are these players ready, able, and ready and available for selection? Available not only for selection, but to have the playing time as a team and as a squad to get the job done. Picking a bag of players. And I tell you what, Jamaica, we've got enough players to get 40 on paper, no problem at all. I think they can choose up to 60 in the first instance. The key thing, excuse me, is getting the selection on point. On point means, can these players play a certain way, the way that Coach Jaime wants his Jamaican national team to play. And that's why I'm taking it easy, kicking back, and allowing Coach Jaime to be trusted. Trust the process. He's seen what Jamaica could do against the likes of Mexico in the Azteca Stadium, a 2-2 draw. The likes of Formula Sports was not enamored, and I've got plenty of time for Formula. He tells it as he sees it, and he wasn't overly enamored with the performance. It wasn't a case of pulling up trees, and I can see where he's coming from. At the same time, to draw 2-2 with a Mexican team in the Azteca is no easy task and no small feat. We scored a worldie goal. I tell you what, Bobby Reid, I don't think Bobby Dazzler will ever score a better goal than that. If he does, he won't forget that in a hurry. An outstanding striker, unwell-like strike. My goodness me. I mean, you can't get bored of watching it. The second was an own goal, as Ethan Pinnock jockeyed with his defensive rival at a set-piece situation under pressure, put it into his own net. Of course, Mexico responded, a penalty given away by Ravel, trying to carry out defensive duties. Back to Ravel. Is Ravel the answer to the Jamaican midfield problem? I cannot hand on heart say that. Jamaica are strong favourites, evens to win or to reach the final of the CONCACAF Gold Cup. Not without hard work, not without some fortune and quality play. Jamaica have the ability to produce quality play because they've got quality players. The question is, can they perform on the stage when it matters? I'm going to trust my 4 eyes. I heard many people saying the Gold Cup is Jamaica's, are we run things. CB class teams can't deal with us. As I said, remember, I play Fantasy Football League. I've seen many players, I've seen many a coach, I've seen the likes of Brighton and Hove Albion. Yes, a club team, but bear with me. De Zerbi, my lord. An example of a manager making a difference. Graham Potter, of course, Graham Potter was the Brighton and Hove Albion manager prior to moving to Chelsea. A great success that turned out to be. Well, De Zerbi, his latest achievement, taking out the likes of March, Solly March, Matoma, McAllister, 3 of their most influential players. So what the blazes is going on here? Matoma and March in my Fantasy Football League. He took them out, rested them in preparation for Rome, the 4th officials, Manchester United. Man United will be coming a knocking at Brighton this week. I believe it is on Thursday. Rome, all the best to you, Rome. Rome, all the best to you. Casemiro's down there, my Brazilian brother. Fredgie's down there. Anthony. They'll need to be on their A game because Brighton are on a roll. Dennis Undav. Danny Welbeck. Pascal Gross. Turned up. Bagged a brace each. 6-0 they gave Wolves. Wolves, a team fighting like a pack of wolves to stay in the Premier League. They should just about do it under Lopetegui. But, my goodness me. Hey, hi Milzoid. How you doing? I raise a mug to you, Milzoid. I bet Milzoid from Football Fan Den, an outstanding social media YouTube platform. Big up yourself, Gaz. Loves football, football fans. And that's what this channel is also about. Giving respect to football fans alike. If you love football, you're more than welcome here. I saw De Zerbi be very discerning. Needs to rest his players, rotate them. Welbeck, Undav, and Ciso, the performance they put in, Pascal Gross, the motivation levels, the man management, the enthusiasm, the commitment, the guile, the class, the effort, the unity shown by that Brighton and Hove Albion team as they ripped into Wolves and gave them a sound as beating as you could ever wish for. That made me think of Coach Jaime Hallgrimsson. And I was thinking, wow, Jamaica's got a good coach. A good coach, but he's got to prove it. I'm not going to say he's just a good coach because he's FIFA approved from Iceland, ice cold, dentist, qualification, intelligent. He's got to be able to put his team onto the pitch and deliver. And to get this midfield operating, he may be in need of some magical skills because you're going to need a bit of magicianship, in my opinion, to get Jamaica to the level where they can go toe-to-toe with America, a likely quarterfinal opponent in the Gold Cup, Canada. Canada, Jonathan David, one of many players playing for Canada. They had, of course, a decent World Cup. Oh, did I say that quite blithely? A decent World Cup? Knocked out at the first stage. They made the World Cup. They made the World Cup. Repeat. Through the CONCACAF qualification, the octagonal. They were there on merit. And they delivered as best they could. Came up short. Came up a little short. A little light in that midfield. And particularly in the attacking third. And they were made to pay. Not by Belgium, necessarily. More Morocco. But that was a lesson learnt. And I'm telling you something, the Canadian star is not going to wane. If anything, it will continue to rise. The 2026 World Cup will be taking place in America, Mexico, and Canada. Do you think they're going to be slackening on what they want to do going forward? Do you think they want to make up the numbers at this forthcoming World Cup? Millswood, you know De Zerbi. Millswood, Wigan Athletic. Do you remember the days of Roberto Martinez? I don't know if you were a fan of Roberto Martinez, but he got that team, in my opinion, playing some good quality football. Many neutrals became Wigan fans, me included. Exciting stuff. And lifting an FA Cup. Wow. Relegation? Okay, but there was glory. And as a football fan, I'm aware just how important a manager is. Pep Guardiola did for Arsenal. Jurgen Klopp has done wonders at Liverpool. What will Coach Jaime Hallgrimsson do for the Reggae Boys? I'm wishing him well. I'm also wishing, by the way, the JFF well. I heard Ryan NFC make a very good point recently. Big up yourself, Ryan. Very good point regarding the JFF and the history. Traditionally, it's been a case of new management, new ways, new decision, new personnel, new plans. Coach Jaime, John Wall and co. seem to have a long-term plan and vision for Jamaican football. This includes long-term development of young players in terms of where do they go. Those key ages in the teens, mid-teens, up into the 18-year-old category ranges. What happens to them? Do they just go into that Bermuda Triangle, as John Wall described it on Manning's Man's, I am sure? Or do they have a future? What happens when they reach a certain stage? We don't want plans ripped up. Dennis Chung is at the helm at the moment. Seems to be doing a pretty good job. And when someone's doing a good job, sometimes not everyone is on board. I wish him and the JFF, and most importantly, Jamaica football well. I've heard the mandates from Mr. Michael Ricketts, the JFF president, who said he wants to see boys and girls develop as human beings, as individuals, with self-confidence, self-awareness, manners, and respect. A chance to shine, be proud of who they are. And if they can do that through football, that is something to be respected and sought for. I salute that particular aim and objective and vision. You could say, does that suggest that matters football and getting Jamaica to the top of the sport is not their main goal? Well, it's not necessarily the be-all and end-all It starts from the roots. It starts from the roots, and having strong individuals, confident individuals with pride, the right sort of pride. Back to my headline, respect. Respect players, respect yourself, respect the process, respect the love of the game. That's what the Reason Boss is about. And as I wrap up this particular show, I would like and encourage you to like, share, and subscribe, not only to myself, Rich Post Sports, but to remember the likes of Ryan LFC, I Max It, We Max It, Formula Sports, I Am Sure, Coach's Desk. Many are in this social space. Eddie Vision, big up yourself. Sports Prophecy, JT, a young man who was coming for a bag of criticism in his time on social media. But amongst the things he has done is be able to speak his mind. Opinions, again, are to be encouraged with respect. With respect. Calling a spade, not getting too high and mighty, not looking and seeing what is not there. Jamaica are not there. They've got a ways to go. But dreams can be reached. Dreams can be accomplished. Ask Mills Wood of Wigan. Ask Morocco, 4th in the World Cup in Qatar. Who would have dreamt that? It starts with respect. Like, share, and subscribe. Like, share, and subscribe. Like, share, and subscribe. The Reason Boss is preaching. Hallelujah. Can you see the dream? Can you see the dream? Jamaica, Jamaica, Jamaica land. We, Taylor Lee, can you help me? DNA, love, peace, and respect.
You know to end it when I get back.